So in Chucky Season 3, Chucky could have a massive power play or an insane plan involving Devon Sawa as President of the United States in Washington, D.C., and Tiffany Valentine or Jennifer Tilly in, I think, Hackensack, New Jersey. Let's talk about it, and let me explain. So on the topic of all of this, a article released by comicbook.com details or says the plot synopsis of Chucky Season 3 is, in Chucky's unending thirst for power, Season 3 now sees Chucky and Norris, or something with that, with the most powerful family in the world, America's first family, inside the infamous walls of the White House. How did Chucky wind up here? What in God's name does he want? And how could Jake, Devin, Lexi possibly get to Chucky inside the world's most secure house, all while balancing the pressures of romantic relationships and growing up? Now, this is the important part. Meanwhile, Tiffany faces a looming crisis on her own as the police close in on her for Jennifer Tilly's murderous rampage last season. Now, how does all this fit into Chucky's, like, a potential part of Chucky's massive plan for, Season 3? Well, at the end of Season 2, we did see, Chucky kind of slightly go for Jennifer Tilly, but since, the police are now closing on Jennifer Tilly's location and Chucky's now in the White House, it could be possible that entire thing was thrown out, or not necessarily thrown out, but that Chucky kind of maybe did something to her, or maybe made a deal with Tiffany or anything to get her to ship him to the White House, and maybe Tiffany's all alone, or something went awry with that involves Chucky now in the White House and Tiffany Valentine, or in Jennifer Tilly's body, still alive and not necessarily in a doll, but still in Jennifer Tilly's body. So I'm curious to see what will happen with that. Although on this topic, basically the police are closing on Jennifer Tilly and anything, or Tiffany, as we know is Tiffany, further her murderous rampage of last season, which was pretty big and massive. Although, how does this all come into play? Well, if Tiffany is going to prison, or Jennifer Tilly or Tiffany is going to prison, which we all know is a very, very likely thing, considering the fact that I think of last month or a few months ago, or maybe a few weeks ago, there was an article released or a kind of filming location listing or casting call for female actors inside of a prison, and it involved kind of obviously they're shooting on location of a prison inside of Ontario, Canada, which is insanely massive already to think about, is that one of our characters could be going to prison, and obviously a lot of us thought Tiffany, and now I feel like it's confirmed, because obviously the police are closing in on Tiffany, and there were obviously casting calls and location filming scouts and filming locations that involve a prison, so obviously Tiffany going to prison 100%, because she filming locations involving a prison and inside of a prison, and obviously Tiffany having the police closing in on her. Okay, Tiffany is going to the prison, and all of that. Now, with Chucky in the White House and close to the president, aka Devon Sawa's character, which I don't know what his president name is, like President Sawa, I don't know. But with him being so close to the president, obviously Chucky being able to possess any body, or maybe even potentially just have some power in the White House, could it be possible that Chucky will pardon Tiffany or Jennifer Tilly, or find some way to use the presidential's power or anything? Maybe if he possesses Devon Sawa's character, possesses the president, or kind of uses some voodoo voodoo stuff to basically get into him some spells, and basically pardons Tiffany and everything, or gets her out of prison some way using presidential powers. That's just the whole theory and everything. I know it kind of took a bit together and everything, but I feel like I needed to take you all along the ride of updating you on what's currently happening with filming locations inside of prisons and Tiffany and all of this with the plot synopsis, because it is really insane. And I do really believe this theory could happen, because if Tiffany's going to prison, how else is she going to get out of there? She's obviously could use her own devices and everything by using some dolls or whatever, but I truly feel Chucky will use some form of the president's power, whether that's possessing the president, aka Devon Sawa's character of the United States, or just using some presidential power or high power in the United States to get Tiffany out of prison, which I feel like would be really cool and just a huge power play for Chucky, because based on the teaser trailer we did see, he's in the White House. He had no trouble getting there, or maybe he did. I do want to do a video on kind of how he got there in the first place, because I would love to see that explained. It's like Daryl, how do you get to France, and The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, which that premieres this Sunday. I can't wait. So yeah, that's all I want to talk about in the video. What are your thoughts? Kind of, what do you think, about Tiffany going to prison? Do you feel Chucky can actually use some voodoo spells or magic on the president of the United States to possess him to get her pardoned, or get her out of prison somehow using presidential powers? I don't know the whole deal of pardoning and getting people out of situations like that and all of that, but I just thought of it and thought it'd be a really cool theory, considering that Tiffany's going to prison, and how else is she going to get out of there? I did suggest earlier, a few months ago or a few weeks ago, that maybe Chucky could send her a doll, or someone else could send her a doll, maybe Glenn or Glenda, but I guess we'll just have to see, and we'll see. I don't know. What are your thoughts? As per usual, all sources will be linked down below in the description, or as per usual, all sources will be linked down below. Thanks for watching. Peace, my amigos, and peace out.